Robert awaits us in my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts. Robert, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys?
We are doing great. How can we help?
Thanks for taking my call. So I'm 23 years old, and I just paid off my student loans in 1 year, which is $27,000.
Way to go.
Thank you. So I have an IT job right now. I'm making $70,000 a year, and with that, I get a 401k and a 4% company match. So I put 10% in right now, and I think that's looking pretty good. But so I live at home with my parents rent-free right now, and I pay all my expenses, and I have no debt other than at all, actually. So I'm thinking of doing house hacking to move out eventually in a couple of years, and I was wondering how I should get started with that, and what do you guys think I need to save for that?
How much do you have in savings right now?
I have about 10 grand left over after paying all my student loans and stuff.
Okay, so let's call that your emergency fund?
Yeah,
Okay. And you're investing 10%. What does the company match?
4%.
Well, if you're following the baby steps, are you a new listener to the plan?
Relatively.
Okay. So you would be what we call baby step 4, which is invest 15% of your income into retirement. So if I'm in your shoes, I'm bumping that up. At 23 years old with no debt and some money in the bank, you're in such an incredible financial position. And you're wondering, well, where does home ownership fall into this? Well, that would be baby step 3B is what we call that, saving up for that down payment on a house. And you can do this your own way when it comes to 3B and 4. Some people like to invest all 15% and keep saving for the down payment. Some people bring their investing down to nothing to save for that down payment more aggressively. So in your shoes, you're young. You could do that in order to create some more margin, but I wouldn't touch that $10,000. Let's call that savings for emergencies. So now the next goal is, how much is the house that you are looking to buy, this duplex?
I haven't found anyone in particular, but I'm thinking around $200,000 to $400,000. That'd be my range.
Have you actually found duplexes for sale in the Boston area in that range?
Like ones that need renovations, and they're fixer-uppers.
It doesn't sound like you're going to have money for renovations.
Hmm.
Because your plan is, I'm going to live on one side and the renter is going to live in the other, and they're going to magically pay my mortgage. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
What are the values of duplexes in these areas? I mean, do they hold their value?
Typically, because in the Boston area, it's very hard to get housing.
Okay.
I imagine there's people, duplexes are in high demand because of this idea that you're talking about. So I don't know that you're going to find a deal on a duplex unless it needs a lot of renovations. And man, at 23 with no money, that is a dangerous scenario. Because what happens when the tenant doesn't pay on time? Oh, and by the way, they live next door. And so anytime something happens, they're knocking on your door because they know the landlord lives next door.
Oh, that's awful.
And so I would just tread with caution. I know this is big advice on TikTok on the financial side of, hey, just house hack. It's so easy. You can make so much money. But man, it is so much more complicated than that, and it can be very risky.
Is that what house hacking is? I wasn't going to ask, but now I don't care.
That's the idea.
I don't know what
Robert,
it means.
did I sum it up well as to what house hacking
Basically,
is?
yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what
you get
it
a
is.
duplex, four family, and you live in one unit, and you rent out the other ones, which then ideally pays for your mortgage and then some.
Do you want to live with your renters? That's a really, boy, you ought to do that on the talk, George, because I think that would get some views for you.
Nobody wants my opinion there because they're all wanting to make money, Ken. They don't want to hear
But
the
they're not
ninny-muggins.
thinking about living next door to their renters. And when something goes wrong, guess what?
Absolutely.
And what happens if you don't get back to them fast enough and they got anger issues?
Well, when the HVAC goes out,
I could go on and on.
It's on you to fix and you to pay for. And so that's what worries me, Robert, is it sounds like you're looking to put as little down to get into this thing as possible on a 30-year in order to get the renter to pay the other side.
Yeah.
And so our housing advice is a 15-year fixed rate mortgage because we want you in debt for as little time as possible, and where the payment is no more than a quarter of your take-home pay. And so if you can do that and without having a tenant involved, then I would say you're financially ready to get that duplex or buy a house. And that might mean you need to save up, 40% as a down payment instead of 5% in order to make those numbers work. But it's not to be, super fundamental and go, you're doing it wrong if you don't do it this way. It's because of risk.
Yeah.
And all you see on paper is upside if you can just crunch the numbers. But reality is a whole lot different.
Yeah. So, Robert, let me flip this. If you knew that you could buy a home that only you lived in and you could pay it off quickly and then reap the benefits of that very sound investment much later in life. Would you choose that or the housing hack idea?
Well, I was always thinking that I could use the housing hack idea as an investment in the future, where when I'm 30, I can move out of that and have those two being rented and then buy a house after that. But I do like the idea of maybe being able to pay off my own house a lot quicker.
Yeah, then buy another house. But the point is, you skip the whole idea where you're a landlord.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a landlord. You just want to make money wisely. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So maybe we start looking at, hey, let's get a condo for Robert that he can live in. Maybe you want to get a roommate. Maybe you get a 2-bedroom condo and you can get a roommate. But I wouldn't go investing in real estate until you've got a paid-for house yourself and you're at a different place financially. And there's no rush. Man, you're 23. Who cares if you get into this at 33 or 43? Everyone feels like I'm too late, Ken, if I don't get into it. There's an 18-year-old on TikTok who got started and now he's making millions. Man, I think we got to get off social media for a while.
I got a phrase for you. Stop with the housing hacks. Stay with the housing facts.
Wow.
Huh?
Robert, are you going to tweet that?
Nothing says middle-aged man like that.
Yeah.
They don't like that on the talk.
No one likes that.
Yeah, but it's a fact.
It's true. Well,
it is. Yeah.
Robert, I hope that helps. I know I didn't want to stomp on your parade there and rain on it, but I've just seen too many situations where it doesn't go according to plan like it did on paper, and the TikTok said it was going to be easy and it would always work out, and life is just messy, man. So the best thing you can do is walk into this thing with patience, with wisdom, and with more money than you think you need, because it's expensive.